we go with the first part, playing and singing exactly the same thing. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This time we're gonna just hold this one note, which I'm playing E, but you may choose to do this on another note. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Now back to the original way, and I'm now going to sing on the vowel me, or on the syllable me. Me, 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 me. Me, me. Now we're going to do it over D. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. And back again. Me, 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 me. All right, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. This time over C. Me, me, me. Oh, did you hear that? I sang F sharp. Me, 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 me. There we go. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. And back again, playing what you sing. Me, 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 me. Not gonna do the whole thing though. Let's change the syllable to new, as in new car. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. And back again. New, 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 new. But I'm not going to do the whole thing. And this time, the final time, over a G. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. And one more time, playing and singing the exact same thing. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. New, 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 new car smell. I love that new car smell. Also, if you want to, you can play an octave up, which will challenge you to keep better intonation. New, 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 new. It's up to you. Hey there, kiddos. Welcome back to Sing and Play. This time I have an exercise which I sort of thought about from two things. Number one, I watched my video where I was explaining the chromatic intervals, and I noticed just how out of tune that I sang some of the time. Now, a little bit of that is because maybe I'm distracted when I'm filming or because of posture reasons, but I noticed that when I play the bass and sing the exact same note, sometimes I scoop into the pitch, or I basically miss the pitch entirely. I'm off by like a quarter tone or something like that. And that was on my mind, and I decided to do something which would challenge me to keep better intonation. And the way I thought of today's exercise comes from working on singing some jazz standards. And I noticed that so long as the melody stayed within a scale, so for example, if we're in D major, so long as the melody used one of those 7 notes that you find in D major, then I more or less could easily hear all the pitches. But as soon as I had to sing a melody that went outside of that scale, which, as we would say, a melody that is no longer diatonic or purely diatonic to the key that you're in, I had some trouble. So this week's exercise is called the black hole, and basically what it is this. I'm going to pick the note E. I've done this week's exercise starting on the note E, but you can pick whatever's comfortable for you. It's not about singing high, it's about challenging yourself to hit the right note. And what I do is I do 3 very tiny little melodic lines. It's not gonna lie, it's a little bit repetitive, but hey, no pain, no gain. You do what you have to do to get the results that you want. The first line is starting on E, or in your case, maybe some other note, starting on a note, then singing up a half step, and then up a whole step, and back down. Sounds like this. Then I do a similar line where I start on my first note, E, and I go up a whole step, a major second, and then up a half step. So it's like the first line, but just sort of inverted, if you will. The first one, half step, whole step, and back down. And the second line, whole step, half step, and back down. And then, to make sure that I can hear all of those pitches in a continuum, I sing all of them. Half step, half step, half step, half step, half step, half step. Half steps all the way up and down. The reason I do that is because it forces me to hear a small chunk of music that would belong to a key, and then immediately switch to a line which would no longer be in the same key, couldn't possibly be in the same key. And it's in a small little range where there are no leaps that might make it easy for me. When I stay in this small little range, I have to hear the differences between all the notes really well. So those 3 lines, first of all, the third line where it's all half steps, that can't belong to any major key because no major key has more than 1 half step in a row. And the first 2 lines, second one, you're not going to have any key that has both of those inside them because if you add them together, you get the third line. Okay? So what I do is I practice singing those 3 lines one at a time and alternating between them. And then I practice singing those lines with different bass notes underneath my voice. So let's say I'm in the key of C major. Then I start on E, which would be the third. First I sing and play the exact same thing, and you'll hear this and see this in the video example. And then I do it while not playing anything besides just E. I stay on E and I still sing the same line. Na, ma, 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 ma. Okay? Then I go back to singing and playing the exact same thing together so that I can sort of get myself back on in case I got off at all. And then I practice singing those 3 lines above a new note. This time a whole step down from my original starting note. So I was starting on E, then I practiced doing it on D. And I still sing the same notes. Ba-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na. Then I go back to singing and playing the same thing to get myself back in case I'm starting to pull out of tune. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Then I do it over C. Again, another whole step down from what we just tried. We did it over E, then we went down a whole step over D, then we went down a whole step over C. That's where we are now. And then I have 2 more notes that I play underneath these 3 melodies. Down a minor third from where we are now. We're on C, so down a minor third to A. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And then I also do it over G. Na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na. And you'll notice G is actually the last note, or the top note of our little line that we sing. Why do I do this? I do it so that first I can practice singing those melodies, tiny little melodies, and hearing them melodically, hearing the distance between all of the pitches. And then I practice singing those 3 melodies above different bass notes so that I can hear those already kind of tricky little melodies when you put them side by side above different bass notes. In other words, I can hear something that's kind of harmonic. And you'll see in the exercises I've labeled which scales these different little melodies tend to sound like, or I should say which modes these little melodies tend to sound like when you sing them above different bass notes. Again, the real focus of this exercise is to work on intonation and to be able to sing chromatic or melodies which change keys frequently. But it also helps to hear what you're doing above one given bass note, because if you're not playing guitar, you're not playing piano, you don't have a whole chord to sing against, which gives your ear plenty of information about where you are. With bass, you just have one note to sing against. And although that is already a lot of information for your ear, it's still not quite as helpful as if you were to sing against a full chord. You know, if I'm singing something like this, sorry, little clipping there. If I'm playing something like this, okay, I hear a whole chord. That's a B, yeah, it's a B dominant 7 chord. All right, but if I just play this, I've got to provide the rest of the chord with my ear unless someone else is doing something helpful on another instrument. That's one of the challenges of playing bass, and that's one of the challenges that I'm hoping to address at least a little bit with today's exercise. I call today's exercise the black hole because it's a tiny little pocket of notes that are really challenging. It took some practice for me to get this comfortable. I hope this helps, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. Sing and play.